I'm Christian Cade, and you may know me as Caveman Wildlife. I'm a lifelong naturalist and wildlife enthusiast, and I spend my time traveling the globe to experience and learn about the amazing wildlife that our world is full of. I've got a soft spot for the American Southeast and the incredible biodiversity that's right here in our backyards.
We're here in the greater Everglades area, home to ecosystems you can find nowhere else in the world. South Florida has such a unique climate that unfortunately invasive species from all over the world have begun to establish breeding populations here. So out here you're gonna find pythons, you're gonna find monitor lizards, chameleons, iguanas, all of these species that come from completely different corners of the world, all right here in the United States in this really interesting place. Invasive species are such a problem here because they outcompete the native wildlife that Florida has. All of them face the pressure of these invasive species that come from different parts of the world that shouldn't be here, so the native wildlife isn't used to their presence and is oftentimes outcompeted or just completely eaten by them. Your invasive species are what you would classify as a species that is causing a natural disruption to the environment where it historically should not exist. Yeah, this area is really unique in just that South Florida is one of the few places in the United States that's just truly subtropic when it comes to like climate. It's warm, it gets a lot of rainfall, and a lot of animals that come from these tropical environments around the world that enter in through the country, through the pet trade or whatnot, are just able to survive here pretty effectively when they're released. Oh, and check this out right here, guys. This is Cameleo caliptratus, or a veiled chameleon. One of the lizards I really wanted to find out here in Florida, because these guys, while not belonging here, are absolutely beautiful. And look at that mouth. This guy is not happy at all. When these guys aren't angry, they're actually a bright green fluorescent coloration that blends in with vegetation very easily. They did no problem at all merging right in with the environment. In Florida, these guys are competing with the native lizards, and we're not too sure of their ecological impact, so much so that some people think that this species should be called non-native rather than the infamous invasive. But we do know that these guys are highly voracious predators, eating a wide variety of insects, but they will not shy away from eating smaller lizards, and unfortunately, that can be our native lizards, the green anole. And as you can see, he's not too happy. I know, I pulled you off your branch, but you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be here. Is that fair to say? You shouldn't be here. Stop eating our native lizards, little dude.
A lot of the invasive species down here are primarily nocturnal. So at sunset, I met up with local wildlife experts, Harrison and Evan Black, to continue our search for these species.
Where is Python vivitators? Do you know where Python is? Man, you're so pretty, dude. Yeah. Now this is Nereida tactus pelota, or the brown water snake. And this is a real common species of aquatic snake out here in Florida. And these guys are really critical to maintaining a healthy freshwater ecosystem. They're just trying to be the key ecosystem protectors that we need out here, so woohoo! What is the importance of the Everglades?
They are not only one of the most biodiverse types of ecosystems in the world, our wetlands are responsible for so much of the biodiversity that we have in the United States. So our natural ecosystems all rely on healthy wetlands.
The weather was a bit more on the cold side, and that made it even harder to find the species we were after. And when they're already so good at hiding, it meant we had a tough road ahead of us.
Even though we didn't see as many invasives as we were hoping to document, the assemblage of native species that are still moving around, even when the conditions are this rough, is still somewhat encouraging.
Yeah.
We know that this section of habitat is still clinging on, you know?
Yeah, it's a good sign, actually.
After a few long days with little luck trying to find the species we were after, it was time to try something different. We met up with Donna and Tanya, local python contractors, to spend the day trying to find our #1 target, the Burmese python.
this time of the year like a good time of the year for pythons?
Yeah, this is breeding season. We're looking for some females coming up on the levee looking for a place to nest.
How many eggs on average do they lay?
The first year they can lay about 20 or so, 20 to 35, and it can go up to over 100 after a few years. Burmese pythons were introduced from the pet trade several decades ago, so we're not catching anybody's pets anymore. That's 14, 15 generations ago. They're hunting right along the edges here, looking for rats coming up and whatnot, and there are no more rabbits. They've eaten all of them. I have seen a few possums out here and a couple of raccoons. Once that's all gone, which pretty much most of that is gone down in Everglades National Park, now they're on to birds and alligators. So they're not going hungry. There's still plenty of food out there for them, even though they've eaten all our mammals. I'm trying to save all of the animals. I love snakes, but unfortunately the Burmese python just doesn't belong here.
As the days came and went and we continued our search, it became very clear just how difficult it is to find these pythons. Now that they've taken to the environment, they're masters at camouflage, and our struggle to find just one of these snakes shows the real big challenge facing the conservationists.
It's like the minute they get into that thicket, dude, they're gone.
No way.
Guys, and check this out right here. This is exactly the snake we were looking at. Now this is Python vivittatus, or the Burmese python. The infamous invasive species that's come down here to Florida and taken over our natural ecosystems, eating all types of mammals. This snake can blend in to these swampy, dark water, tannic environments very easily. And that's why these snakes are so hard to find out here. Don't bite, don't bite, don't bite, please don't bite me. In their native range, they have all types of birds, mammals, and reptiles that eat them. They're used to this animal's presence, so they see them as predator and prey in a healthy relationship. But out here in Florida, the native wildlife was not prepared at all to deal with such an animal. Can't be underestimated the ecological impact they've been having. They eat a lot of the native mammals, mammals being their favorite prey. But when the mammals aren't in abundance, best believe these guys are eating all the lizards, the frogs, the birds, and anything else they can come across. Absolutely impressive, and despite being an invasive species, they should be managed, but managed respectfully. I don't want to see people, just killing these snakes in barbaric ways. We should be taking them in and euthanizing them and treating them with respect. And how is that for an Everglades adventure? We found the Burmese python, the infamous snake I wanted to show you. This snake is not an evil, horrible, ugly monster like sometimes the media tries to portray it as. It's just an animal that's built for survival, and that's exactly what it's doing here, unfortunately, in the greater Everglades ecosystem where it doesn't belong. And I hope you learned that this area, just like many areas in the United States and around the world, needs to be protected, because if we lose the biodiversity here, we may never get it back. So let's not let that happen, and let's keep on learning and having fun. Woo!